This may end up being a faster tier list than normal for VE Tower, but that is mainly because I have no reason to move around any of these old units for VE Tower because we haven't had any new VE Towers introduced that have shaken up what units are good and what units are bad. So all the units that were previously placed for VE Tower in My Hero Ultra Impact, I would say are still good where they are at. Now what we do have to do is place the new units we've gotten, which is the new Endeavor, the new Celebration Yaoyorozu, the new General Pool Bakugo, Toga, Aizawa, and the most recently released Tokoyami. Now some of these characters are actually really good for potential VE Towers because we should be getting VE Towers eventually, specifically new SS difficulties of particular VE Towers, and a lot of these characters will actually do very well there, so it'll help you guys to know which characters you should be investing in now, and then some of them will do really bad in VE Tower, and you probably don't want to invest in them for VE Tower for that reason. But while characters, keep in mind, might be bad on this particular tier list, it does not mean they're going to be bad on the PvP tier list. So if you haven't checked out the PvP tier list yet, make sure you check that out, and vice versa between the two, because some units are good on this one while they're not good on the other one, and some units are good on the PvP one while they're not good on this one. Now with all that said, let's go ahead and get straight into placing our very first character, and we're just going to go in order, and that would be Blue Endeavor. So Blue Endeavor has AoE status elements, which is really good. He has plus ultra gauge raise, he has a technical hit, and he has good 4-turn cooldowns. Now his biggest detriment is that he has piercing shot, and that piercing shot at times can potentially make it so you do too much damage. But I think like this Blue Endeavor will be really good on stages with shields and things like that in particular, and so for now I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because we haven't really had any new VE Towers to test him on, right? I'm going to say that hopefully he'll do okay, even though he might do too much damage, which could be his biggest problem, right? I'm going to put Endeavor into S tier because he does have all those things going on for him, and that AoE status element is really good. Like Dabi is still up here because he also has the guaranteed status elements, which makes him really good. And so I feel like Endeavor also has to be up here for the same reason, plus he raises his own plus ultra gauge, plus he has a technical hit. So all of that really plays into Endeavor actually being very good in VE Tower. So Endeavor is one of those characters who's both good in VE Tower and in PvP. He shines in both. The next character we're going to be placing is the new Celebration Momo. So Celebration Momo is quite the interesting character. When I did the PvP tier list, this is a bit of a spoiler, but she was at the top of the tier list, right? But when it comes to PvE, she has no attack skills. Her skills don't really count as technicals. She has no status elements, and the only thing she really has going for her, which is why I'll say she's okay when it comes to VE Tower, is she has cooldown reduction for the team. And so for that reason, this one's crazy. This one might kind of not blow you guys out of the water like where she's going, but she's actually going to go into D tier. That is right, a fantasy character, or not a fantasy character, a Impact Fest character, there we go, that's the word I was looking for. An Impact Fest character, a celebration character, is going this low on the list. That's actually just crazy. Now, while she may be going this low on the list for VE Tower, she is really good still in Climax Battles, she's really good in PvP, and she's insanely good in Club Festival. If you did the last Club Festival, it almost seemed like, you know, you couldn't do well without her. So don't get me wrong, Celebration Momo is very good given the content she's taking on, but when it comes to VE Tower, she's just not all there. She's not that great. That one honestly probably surprised you guys. I know it surprised me a little bit when I really got to thinking about it and looking at her kit, because I wanted her to be higher and I was surprised. I'm like, I really can't do that. I have to put her in D tier. So yeah, that's where she's gonna sit. The next character is the General Pool Bakugo. I would argue one of the best General Pool Bakugos, and he has good cooldowns. He has AoE status ailments. He has a double technical hit. He increases his own crit rate, and he increases his own plus ultra gauge. Like, is there anything else you could ask for? This guy is an absolute beast. And so for that reason, he is going into S tier for VE Tower characters. Plus he has buff block. Like, this guy is insanely good. I think this particular Bakugo will be one of the best Bakugos when it comes to VE Tower. And also, he's actually pretty good in PvP too. So that Bakugo, if you pull him as a general pool character, that is a massive win. Like, he is, I would say, far in every way superior to his other general pool Bakugo counterparts. So very good. Following Bakugo, we have the new eye patch Toga, or Pirate Toga. And so this character has 3 technicals. She can increase her own crit rate. She increases her own plus ultra gauge. She has AoE status elements, but here's the biggest problem with her. She has terrible cooldowns. If not for those terrible cooldowns, she would be going into S tier. But because of those cooldowns, I have to put her into A tier. Like, she's really good. I think she's going to be super useful. Specifically, she'll be useful in like 4-turn clear VE towers where, you know, turn cooldown doesn't matter as much because it's 4 turns. You don't have to worry about your cooldowns. But in longer VE towers, those cooldowns are going to matter. So for that reason, as a general, like looking at all VE towers here when we're making this tier list, right, I feel like she has to go in A tier. So just keep in mind as we make this tier list, I just want to reiterate that this is keeping all potential variations of VE Tower in mind, and some of them have longer turns, some of them have shorter turns to get them done. So given the right circumstance, this Toga could easily be S tier, but I feel like just looking at her from a broader sense, that she belongs in A tier, and hopefully you guys agree that that's fair for that Toga. I really wanted a good Toga. I think she's good. Everyone wanted a really good Toga, right? Because let's face it, the other ones aren't very good, but I would say A tier is fair, and you know, that is actually a really good placement overall compared to some of these characters that are below her. Following Toga, we have Red Aizawa, who is also a general pool unit. So he has a technical, he has 2 status ailments, but he lacks crit until he's below a certain HP threshold, and then he also lacks plus ultra gauge raise, and he has a 4 and a 5 turn cooldown respectively. So he has okay cooldowns, he lacks plus ultra gauge raise, and he lacks crit. So all those things aren't very great. The few things that he does have going for him is that he has 1 technical, not 2, and he has 2 status elements, which is like okay. So for this Aizawa, we're actually going to put him into C tier. I see him having potential uses in the future, but I feel like he's only going to be good in certain situations, and there's just going to be characters that are a better choice or a cut above this Aizawa when it comes to taking on VE Tower. And I just want to elaborate here that when I place characters into this tier list, I'm not placing Aizawa up here because he's better than all the ones below him. This is a random order for each tier. I am not ordering the tiers from best to worst. And then last but not least, we have the new purple general pool Tokoyami. This guy has his own plus ultra gauge raise. He has a technical on 1 move and a double technical on the other. He has 2 normal attacks for extra chances to crit, which is massive. You can't overlook that. And he has a decent 4-turn cooldowns after he does his plus ultra cooldown reduction. So normally he has 5-turn cooldowns, but after he plus ultras, they become 4 turns, which is actually fair and very good. So for that reason, this Tokoyami is decent in PvP, but he's immaculate when it comes to PvE and VE Tower. So he definitely deserves to be an S tier. So our S tier is now up to 2 rows. There is actually quite a few characters to choose from, and VE Tower is going to be a lot of fun whenever it does return, if it does return. Hopefully, you know, that will happen soon or with the beginning of the new year, but we will have to see. That is it for this tier list video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.